Prologue, 15 years ago. Patience McGraw couldn't breathe. She placed her hand on top of her chest and wondered if it was possible to have a heart attack and die from fear, or maybe anticipation. Her mind raced and her throat was tight, and here she was, on possibly the most significant day of her life, and she couldn't catch her breath. Talk about lame. "The snow's melting," Justice said, pointing toward the mountains just east of town. Patience looked up and nodded. "It's getting warmer." "It's getting warmer?" She held in a groan. Why did she have to sound so stupid? Why did she have to be so nervous? This was Justice, her best friend since he moved to Fool's Gold at the beginning of October last year. They'd met in the school cafeteria, and they'd reached for the last cupcake. He'd let her have it. She'd offered to share. She figured because he was older he would refuse, but he'd smiled instead, and that day they'd become friends. She knew him. They hung out together, played video games together, went to the movies together. It was fun. It was easy. Or it had been until a few weeks ago when she'd suddenly looked into Justice's dark blue eyes and felt something she'd never experienced before. Her mom had reassured her it was normal. Patience was 14, Justice was 16, and it was unlikely they would stay friends forever. But Patience wasn't sure she liked the change. Before, she hadn't had to think about everything she said or worry about what she wore or how her hair looked. Now she was always thinking, which made it hard to just hang out. After 2 months of sweating every word, every thought, every action, she was done. She was going to tell Justice the truth, that she liked him, that she wanted him to be more than her best friend. If he liked her back, well, she didn't know what would happen then, but she was sure it would be wonderful. If he didn't, she would probably die of a broken heart. They walked through the quiet residential neighborhood of Fool's Gold. The small town was nestled in the foothills of the Sierra Nevadas. With spring chasing away winter, there were buds on trees, and the first daffodils and tulips of the season swayed in the afternoon breeze. All of which had nothing to do with the fact that she was seriously scared. Because while talking about dying of a broken heart was very Pride and Prejudice, her mother's favorite book and movie, it might be painful and a little gross. But she had to know, had to stop wondering. She should just tell him and get it over with. There was a school dance in 2 weeks, and she wanted to go with Justice. She was pretty sure he didn't like anyone else. Although he was 2 years older than her, he didn't have a girlfriend, and they always hung out together at lunch. Not that he'd tried to kiss her. She wasn't sure how she felt about kissing, but if she was going to have a boy kiss her, she wanted it to be Justice. Oh, God, why did her stomach hurt so much? "Patience." She jumped. "Huh?
"Are you okay?"
She came to a stop and clutched her books to her chest. "I'm fine. Why do you ask?"
"You're quiet. Is something wrong?"
His eyes were so beautiful, she thought. Dark, dark blue. They crinkled a little at the corners when he laughed, which wasn't that often. He had a great smile. He was still kind of skinny, as if he'd grown too fast, but cute and sweet to her. "Justice, I need to ask you something." He nodded and waited, facing her.
"Sure. What?"
She opened her mouth, then closed it. Words disappeared as she got lost in fear and panic and, "Hey, Justice." They both turned and saw Ford Hendricks crossing the street toward them. Patience exhaled, both relieved and frustrated by the interruption. Ford was one of 6 kids, dark hair and eyes. All the girls thought he was hot, but Patience only saw Justice.
"Could you believe that history test?"
Ford asked. He and Justice were the same age and had a lot of classes together.
"Hey, Patience."
"Hi." They all fell into step together, walking toward home, the moment lost.
"Man, why do we have to know that stuff?" Ford asked. World War I was like 100 years ago or something. That essay question? Brutal, Justice finished for him.